and I think I have a hotter take than primagen. So is Svelte great for beginners? If you have a single page app, I think it's going to be amazing for you to use Svelte to launch something. But I think something that primagen did not talk about during this article or his video is, hello, my name is Rami. I am a ex-Google, ex-Twitch, ex-Amazon, ex-Dell software engineer. And today I have a very special video. I'm talking about, is Svelte for beginners? Is it better for beginners? And I think I have a very informed opinion because I am building a business called DonorSync using Svelte. And the reason that I chose Svelte is because it's easier to read and it's a lot faster than React. But as somebody who has spent the last month and a half using Svelte, I have a lot of criticisms about what it takes to build an app in Svelte. And I don't know, like there's some reasons why I don't feel like it's good for beginners, but let's get into the article. Svelte is better for beginners. Hi, I am Cameron. Welcome to my TED Talk. I'm here to shout out my opinions about the front-end framework and into the endless void of the hot takes and terrible opinions. I already like this dude. I firmly believe that anyone learning front-end web development should start with Svelte rather than React. What is Svelte? Svelte is from French svelte, meaning slim, slender, which is the perfect description for a framework that prides itself on minimalist design. Svelte was first released in 2016 and recently updated to version 4 in June of this year. I first discovered Svelte around a month ago after seeing it's featured on a YouTube video by the primagen. My first application of Svelte was a website that replays a competitive programming competition on Caddis. On the same day I started the project, I also finished it. Using Svelte that day made me feel like a superhero. I had informed my competition team about the tool I was going to make for us, and I was able to release it to them on the same day. Something I don't think would have been possible if I started out learning with a framework like React. I am a little bit curious about this because I don't know when he's writing this, but I would say deploying things in Svelte is a bit challenging. Like some of the bugs that I've seen come up are just so rare. So I'm surprised he was able to get this out in a day. Maybe he used a template. Shout out to my video about that. If you guys don't know, if you want to streamline your work, you need to be using a template in order to make sure that you are not doing a lot of things that have already been done before. And I'm probably pointing to the video up here somewhere if you guys want to watch it. My first experience was the front-end development using React from my university competition programming club website. Jumping to the code base was quite the cold shower. When searching for help on React websites, you can find some pretty good tutorials to help you learn. After a week, you should have firm grasp on most of the concepts that React offers. Yeah, I would say React is simple. I think it brings a lot of concepts that other programmers would understand, especially with LLMs. I don't think React nor Svelte is that hard. I think what makes React a bad choice is that it's a lot of boilerplate, and as your code base grows, it's going to be hard to understand. And you're talking to somebody who used to work on the Switch code base with millions of lines of React. Sure, React fundamentals are impossible, but its approach to the building of UIs and deviates significantly from traditional development. This is something I felt Svelte stays close to. What's the difference maker? There are 2 points I would like to raise on what makes Svelte so much better for beginners. Tutorial website. Oh my gosh, the way that Svelte has structured the tutorial website and documentation is top tier. When you go to the tutorial page, it's great. It greets you with some instructions on the left and the idea on the right, almost like your layout for LeetCode. Yeah, I agree. Like learning Svelte has been the easiest language by far that I've had to learn. And I wish more companies had an interactive playground with a tutorial that you don't have to download anything. It's just right there in the browser. And that's one reason why I would recommend something like Svelte. So you have the playground, so tutorials. And the tutorials give you a good understanding of the basics, and you see they have a little bit about the advanced right there as well. Sure, React also has tutorials on their websites. In no way is the tutorial better than Svelte. React has a structure their tutorials through documentation rather than an interactive layout like Svelte. Yeah, it's just like, it's the difference between reading documentation and actually playing around with the thing. And I enjoy playing around with it. And I think, yeah, it's just another reason why Svelte is better for beginners, I would say. This may be just a personal preference, but when I was learning React, I would have loved something like Svelte tutorials where every concept could be treated like a lead code problem that I needed to solve. It's just how my brain works. I believe that this style of learning is the most productive when it comes to teaching something new in programming. Simplicity. I can't get over the simplicity of a framework. Everything just makes sense. You want to make a component that adds 2 numbers. Yeah, look at how much difference this looks compared to React, where you would have to use like hooks and stuff. Like one reason I have the most experience in Java from my various different jobs. And one of the reasons why I don't use Java for my business is because there's just so much more boilerplate. I really enjoy languages that keep things simple. I like when I can look back at some code that I wrote 3, 4, 6 months ago and I can still understand what it's doing. I think it's funny how, like, as languages have been adopting new bells and whistles and features, that the languages that have lessened the features and are more minimalistic are being loved by programmers. Now, look, we see it switch to React where you have the hooks, the use states, like all that, like you have, and this only gets more dense as your code grows, right? Like we have A and B right here, and you bind it, let A, let B, plus. So super simple. My brothers, sisters in Christ, there's no debate. From someone who used to use React fanboy, the Svelte code is easy to read, more enjoyable to write. That's the main reason like I use Svelte, is because it's just more enjoyable to write and simple. As a beginner starting out with React, my first thoughts when reading React code were there's just too much verbosity for something that really can be much simpler. Sure, at times verbosity is needed. Not you, Java. I have 3 years of pain with Java. When learning something like front end for the first time, the verbosity can be overwhelming at times. That's the last thing you will want when trying something new. And conclusion, let me write this down. Conclusion, I've since gone on to React this website in Svelte, and I love it as a beginner. Being able to learn even more about the framework has been exhilarating for me. Some of you may argue that Svelte has a smaller community and a smaller job market. To that, I argue not everything you learn will help you get a job, and the community is ever growing along with the ecosystem. Be fun and learn Svelte is to help you understand the basics of front-end development with components and reactivity. Svelte has a lot going for it as a proud adopter, and I'm excited for Svelte for the future of. I'm excited for the future of Svelte. All right. So there you guys have it. We have read the article. We know why Svelte is better. It's easier to write, and it's way more performant than React. And so these are 2 huge things that make up the developer experience of a tool, but we still don't see why React or Svelte being adopted by major companies is usually just an experiment or a side project. But as things continue to grow, I think we're going to see Svelte not overtake React, but it's going to be a more polished tool that I think people are going to invest their time in. So I am somebody who is building in business with Svelte, and I think I have a hotter take than primagen. So is Svelte great for beginners? If you have a single page app, I think it's going to be amazing for you to use Svelte to launch something. But I think something that primagen did not talk about during this article or his video is how painful it is to have to build things from scratch with Svelte. I kind of want to say that React might be a little bit better for indie hackers, people who want to build a business, because React has so much more tooling and so much better support for their libraries. So I want to add to that, like, if you are a beginner, you want to learn a little bit about web, you have a small single page application that you want to build, I would recommend React. If you are somebody who has a strong experience with web development and you don't mind having to write everything, or not everything, but write a few things from scratch, you have good, solid fundamentals with software engineering, you can use something like Svelte in SvelteKit. I want to say, like, there's so many times where I have been using a library in Svelte and the guy who's been using it is no longer maintaining it. I'm seeing errors in the code. I've put a post on a bug in the SvelteKit community, and this guy just closed it. And so I wouldn't say the community of Svelte is that friendly for beginners. I would say the documentation and the tutorial is top tier, but what it's like using this for a actual business is super challenging, and I would not wish this on my friends. Can't say, I haven't built a business around React, so I don't know, but I'm just saying that, like, a lot of things and a lot of tools that Svelte has does not work properly. Like this, I'll give you another example. There's no Svelte developer tool. Like there's a React developer tool where you can debug your application with your browser, right? There is one for Svelte, but it does not exist for Svelte 5 yet because it's still a community maintained project. So I want to add something that primagen and this guy did not say, is how much of a pain it is to work with Svelte when there aren't highly maintained packages. So although I would agree that it's great for beginners, if you're not into web development and you want to make something really fast, you might want to stick with React for now, because the community, although it is growing, it is immature right now, in my opinion. And that is it. Let me know in the comments. I hope you Svelte guys are not like making fun of me or like want to talk, smack or whatever. I am the biggest Svelte guy you can think of. I'm just saying, for somebody who has to go to these communities and find libraries that fit within my business, I've been really disappointed with what Svelte has to offer, but I'm still all in. But let me know in the comments, are you a React guy or are you a Svelte guy? Deuces.